Most people think they have an attention problem, that they're lazy, unfocused, undisciplined. But what if it's not a character flaw? What if it's a pattern you were trained into? Because the modern world isn't designed for peace. It's designed for interruption. And distraction has a strange power. It feels harmless until you realize it has been quietly stealing your life. Distraction doesn't feel like danger until you realize what it cost you. Distraction rarely shows up as chaos. It shows up as just checking your phone, just scrolling for a minute, just one more video, just a quick refresh. And the scary part is how automatic it becomes. You don't even decide to do it. You just do it. Because distraction has become the modern version of comfort. The moment you feel bored, uncertain, stressed, lonely, your hand reaches for something to numb it. And it works. For a moment. Most distractions aren't entertainment. They're emotional anesthesia. We usually think distraction is about wanting pleasure, but often it's about avoiding discomfort. Because silence can be uncomfortable. Stillness can be uncomfortable. A quiet mind forces you to hear what you've been avoiding. Your worries, your regrets, your unanswered questions. So the mind does something clever. It keeps itself busy. Not because it loves the content, but because it fears what it might feel without it. If you can't sit in silence, it's not because you're bored, it's because you're avoiding something. Philosophers have warned about this for centuries, not phones specifically, but the deeper issue. A life without attention is a life not truly lived. Because your life is made of moments, and what you pay attention to becomes your life. If your attention is constantly fragmented, split into notifications, scrolling, and endless updates, you don't just lose time, you lose depth, you lose presence, you lose meaning. Not dramatically, quietly. Your attention is your life. Spend it like it matters. The cost of distraction isn't only productivity. The deeper cost is that you lose the ability to be with yourself, to think deeply, to feel fully, to process life. Distraction keeps you in the shallow end of existence, always consuming, never digesting. And then people wonder why they feel restless, anxious, unfulfilled, even when their life looks fine. Because they've been living on mental fast food, always full, never nourished. You can consume all day and still feel empty, because consumption isn't nourishment. So what do? You don't need to delete everything and live like a monk. You need to reclaim one skill, the ability to stay with a moment. When you feel the urge to distract yourself, pause. Not forever. Just for 10 seconds. Ask, what am I trying not to feel right now? That one question breaks the spell. Because once you name what you're avoiding, you stop being controlled by it. The moment you notice the urge to escape, you've already regained power. Distraction isn't evil, but unconscious distraction is. Because it turns your life into a blur. And one day you wake up and realize you've been busy every day, but not truly present for any of them. So don't aim to be perfect. Aim to be awake. Because the opposite of distraction isn't productivity. The opposite of distraction is presence. A meaningful life begins when you stop running from your own mind. And that idea sounds simple until you try it. Because the first time you truly remove distraction, you don't immediately feel peaceful. You feel exposed, like you've taken the noise away. And now you can finally hear what was underneath it. That's why distraction is so powerful. It doesn't just entertain you, it protects you from yourself. Distraction isn't what you do for fun, it's what you do to avoid feeling. Here's what modern distraction does to you. It trains your brain to expect constant novelty, a new video, a new message, a new scroll, a new hit of something. So regular life starts feeling too slow. Reading feels hard. Thinking feels heavy. Silence feels painful. Not because you're broken, but because your mind has been trained to crave stimulation the way a tongue craves sugar. And once you see that, you realize you're not just bad at focusing. You're living inside a system that profits from keeping you unfocused. When everything is designed to pull your attention, focus becomes an act of rebellion. This is the weirdest part. Some people finally sit down to rest, and they can't relax. They're physically tired, but mentally itchy. So they open the phone. They play something in the background. They scroll while watching something else. Not because they want it, but because stillness feels unfamiliar. Because rest used to mean recovery. Now it means stimulation without effort. And that's not rest. That's sedation. If you can't rest without stimulation, you're not resting, you're escaping. Distraction steals something that's hard to notice. Your ability to have a single, deep thought. A thought that changes your life usually doesn't appear in a noisy mind. It appears in quiet, in a walk, in a shower, in a moment where you finally stop consuming. But if every quiet gap is filled, the thought never arrives. Not because you're not smart enough, but because you've given your mind no space to speak. Your best ideas require silence. Distraction is a silence killer. So what do you actually do? Start with a tiny rule. No distraction during transitions. Transitions are those small moments. Waiting for food, walking to the store, sitting on the bed, before sleep, standing in line using the bathroom, riding in a car or train. These are the moments you automatically reach for your phone. Reclaim them. At first, it will feel boring. Then it will feel uncomfortable. And then something surprising happens. Your mind starts to settle. Not perfectly, but noticeably. Because you're teaching your brain, I don't need noise to be okay. Freedom isn't deleting apps. It's being able to do nothing without panic. And maybe this is the final truth. A distracted life can be busy and still feel empty. A present life can be simple and still feel rich. Because meaning isn't created by how much you consume, but by how deeply you experience. So the goal isn't to become a productivity machine. The goal is to become a person who can live one moment at a time without needing to escape it. Presence is the richest form of life.